Hello, and welcome to IFT381 Group 2 Learner Lecture Series. Today we'll be talking about some cyber incidents. This is by Joanne Badella, your narrator, me, Joseph Andrews, and Kevin Kim. In today's agenda, we'll be talking about what is a cyber attack, reviewing the history of cyber attacks from incidents that happened as early as the 1800s, some social media infiltrations, and some financial information intrusions. And then as well, we'll be getting into a little bit of the future of what we as a group think the digital attacks and cyber attacks of the future will look like. The first thing we want to consider when it comes to any cyber attack is to first set a good parameter of what is a cyber attack. And so from here, we're going to define a cyber attack as a malicious and deliberate attempt by an individual or organization to break into the information systems of another individual or organization. One of the first things I considered when doing this research and kind of asked myself is, when did I think the first cyber attack did happen? And initially in my mind, I thought it happened when some of the first connections did happen. So I was thinking somewhere maybe in the 1980s, 1990s. I was very surprised to find in my research that it was in 1834. And so what happened here was that two actors hacked into the French telegraph system. And the thing that they were looking for, as with what most hackers do look for in this situation, is access to money. In this case, they stole information from the financial market.
Hi, today I'll be talking about the Facebook and Cambridge Analytica scandal. Cambridge Analytica was a British consulting firm founded in 2013, and they specialized in aiding political campaigns through complex data analysis. They stole and sold the data of over 87 million Facebook user accounts by exploiting Facebook's API. It's actually kind of impressive that the way that they did this. They had researchers at their firm construct a personality test, which was essentially an algorithm to predict the person's political preferences. The algorithm would take the results of the quiz and cross-reference them with the results of other users to build a model through patterns and correlations. And in March 17, 2018, this scandal is exposed, but the damage had already been done. And I think it's also important to note that Facebook had already known about the data misusage since 2015. I really think it's important to think about how consequential the scandal was. Tech has really extended its reach into every facet of our lives, and politics is no exception. I think that this is only the beginning of seeing these types of strategies where data is used to achieve a goal, but not just politically. So following the news of the scandal, there was a pretty big fallout for Facebook. There were major concerns over security of personal data and the way that they secure it, uh, and of course their credibility took a pretty big hit as well. And in July 2019, they were fined for 5 billion, and in December 2022, they agreed to settle a private class action lawsuit related to the Cambridge Analytica scandal for 725 million. Uh, I think it's pretty, I think it's worth mentioning that in April 2018, Facebook actually agreed to adopt the EU's General Data Protection Regulation for all areas of operation. And this is important because the EU guidelines for data protection are the strictest and the strongest in probably the entire world. So the Cambridge Analytica controversy profoundly impacted the world of data privacy, political campaigning, and social media. And these are just some thoughts that came to mind as I was doing my research. So we understand that tech, especially social media, is a pretty new development. And because it's so new, there really aren't a lot of rules and regulations set within the industry. And Facebook is actually, they're pretty bad offenders. They have a they have a history of data breaches, and Also, the only reason we even know about this scandal in particular is because of the actions of a whistleblower. Uh, Facebook's arguably one of the most powerful tech companies in the world, and it's vulnerable to these kinds of exploits. So it really makes me think about what kinds of policies and policies other tech companies abide and follow. Uh, Tech and social media really are relatively new developments, and they really don't have many regulations, and it's problematic uh, because of the sensitive nature of the situation. We're dealing with people's personal information, and uh, it's really essential that confidentiality is a is a is a high priority.
Narrator Joe here. I'm back to tell you about the Equifax hack and what happened. So, to give you a brief summary, there was multiple security lapses that happened. This allowed bad actors to enter a lot of the secure systems within Equifax and take terabytes on terabytes of data. This started at the consumer complaint portal. We can kind of relate this back to Lab 6 that we took in the IFT381 class, where we had to gain admin access to the Juice Shop website. The bad actors in this situation did the same thing. And what they also were able to do is to stay in Equifax's system for months on end. This not only shows that the failure in protecting the users initially, but also that Equifax was not even properly monitoring their own network or adequately monitoring their network. And on top of that, the breach was not published for more than a month after it was discovered. Now, in the state of Arizona, we do have a rule that you do have to publish a data breach within 45 days. The Equifax ruling did take place in Atlanta, Georgia, so their rulings might be a little bit different to Arizona's. Due to the failure to take proper care, this led Equifax to jeopardize over 143 million Americans potentially, as well as since Equifax's systems were so far behind, they had to spend over $1.4 billion just on upgrading their systems specifically for their cybersecurity needs. And they also had to compensate each and everybody who was affected and confirmed affected of $125. The CEO later blamed the problem on Equifax having a culture focused more on tenure than care, but poor networking practices are expensive no matter the excuse. So how'd this all end for Equifax in the end? They ended up settling with the FTC. They faced legal action from numerous lawsuits and regulatory actions, as well as a security overhaul that we stated in the last slide of over $1.6 billion. They ended up proving the theory that ineffective networking practices incur their own sets of costs. On top of that, they've experienced reputational damage. Who'd want to do business with a company that loses important information like social security numbers? And on top of that, the United States ended up finding 4 suspected and later indicted Chinese actors who were part of the China's People's Libertarian Army, a part of the Chinese armed forces. On this slide, we'll be taking sort of a look into what the future cyber attacks will look like. And what we think will happen is that we will see an increase in attacks amplified by the use of AI, home devices being hacked from the rise of Internet of Things, as well as smart devices being used against us. You can already imagine, as we make fridges smarter as they are, a hacker being able to lock you out of a fridge and demanding X amount of Bitcoin just so you can cook and make food for yourself again. And finally, this is the last slide. It's our works cited page. I hope you all enjoyed our presentation here. And as for my group to you, I hope you have a great rest of your day.